We counting down the top 3 rarest and most valuable Washington quarter dollars ever discovered, from shocking minting errors to secret varieties that slipped past the U.S. Mint. Each one tells a story of rarity, history and unimaginable value, so grab your magnifying glass, you might just discover that you've been holding a fortune. We're talking about the 1981 P-era Washington quarter dollar, a coin that looks ordinary at first glance, but under the right light, can reveal some of the most fascinating minting mistakes in U.S. coin history. In this video, we'll uncover why this humble 25-cent coin has become one of the most talked about and sought after error coins in the collector's world. We'll explore its history, rare error types, and real-life auction values that will absolutely blow your mind. The background. Let's rewind to the early 1980s, a time when America was transitioning through economic shifts, technology was booming, and the U.S. Mint was under massive pressure to produce billions of circulating coins every year. The Washington quarter design had been around since 1932, created by sculptor John Flanagan to honor America's first president, George Washington. By 1981, the coin's appearance hadn't changed much, but what had changed was the minting process. The most valuable errors and varieties. The double die obverse DDO. Double die obverse coins have fetched over $5,000 at auction, with some pristine examples. Off-center strike error. Off-center coin might fetch $200, while one that's 40% to 60% off-center could be worth $2,000 to $5,000. Broad strike error. A nice broad strike can easily fetch $500 to $1,500, especially if it's in near mint condition. Clipped Planchet error. One of these is like winning the lottery. Examples have sold for $10,000 to $25,000. Auction records that shocked collectors. Let's talk numbers, because these auction results will make your jaw drop. Double die obverse quarter, graded MS-67 by PCGS, sold for nearly $6,800. That's almost 27,000 times its face value. In 2021, an off-center with a 60% off strike and visible date, brought in over $5,500 on heritage auctions. But the biggest shock came when a transitional error struck on a foreign planchet appeared at a private auction. The final bid? Over $250,000. And experts believe if another example were found today, especially in mint state condition, it could easily top $1 million. So, if you ever stumble upon an odd-looking 1981 P quarter, you might just be holding a six-figure treasure. How to identify if you have a valuable? Here's a simple checklist you can follow at home. Check the date and mint mark. It must be 1981 with a clear P. Inspect under good lighting or magnification. Look for double lettering or misaligned designs. Test the coin's weight. It should be about 5.67 grams. If it's heavier or lighter, you might have a wrong planchet error. If anything looks unusual, take clear photos and send them to a grading company or professional numismatist. Remember, one small detail can mean the difference between 25 cents and $25,000. Final thoughts. How many times have you handled a Washington quarter without even looking closely? That ordinary coin you've been tossing into your change jar might just hide an extraordinary secret. The 1981 P-era Washington quarter reminds us that history and fortune often hide in the smallest of places, right there in your pocket. So the next time you see that gleam of silver under a vending machine light or at the bottom of a drawer. Today, we're diving deep into the mysterious world of the 1982 P-era Washington quarter dollar, a coin that has stunned collectors around the world with its unbelievable mistakes and mind-blowing auction prices, from double strikes to missing mint marks, from off-center errors to coins struck on the wrong metal. Some of these 1982 P quarters have transformed from pocket change to life-changing treasures. The background. Let's rewind to the early 1980s, a fascinating era in U.S. coin history. In 1982, the Philadelphia Mint was in full swing, striking hundreds of millions of Washington quarters to meet the nation's booming demand for coinage. The U.S. economy was recovering from recession, inflation was high, and production pressure was enormous. To make matters more complicated, 1982 was a transition year for the Mint. The most valuable errors and varieties. Double die obverse DDO. High-grade examples with strong doubling can bring $3,000 to $8,000. Off-center strike error. Off-center strike with the date still visible can easily sell for $1,000 to $3,000. The broad strike error. Broad strike in uncirculated condition can bring $300 to $1,500. Clipped Planchet error. Values 200 pounds to 800 pounds, depending on size and severity of the clip, but coins. Shocking auction results. Now let's talk about real numbers that made headlines in the coin world. In 2018, off-center error quarter sold for $4,500 at Heritage Auctions. In 2020, a double die obverse example graded MS67 fetched $7,800. And in 2022, a wrong Planchet transitional error believed to be struck on a copper nickel $220,000. Experts believe if another perfect storm 1982 P quarter is discovered a flawless, high-grade transitional error, it could easily reach the $1 million mark in today's collector market. That's why treasure hunters and coin enthusiasts continue searching for them every single day. How to identify your hidden treasure. Want to check your own 1982 P quarters? Here's how to get started. Use a magnifying glass or coin loupe. 10x magnification is ideal. Look for misaligned designs, missing edges, or unusual color tones. Use a digital scale to check the exact weight. Normal equals 5.67 grams. Compare your coin's edge with a modern quarter. Any difference could signal an error. And most importantly, keep an eye out for double letters or missing mint marks. If you find something that doesn't look quite right, you could be holding one of the rarest coins ever struck by the US Mint. Final thoughts. So the next time you grab a handful of quarters from your car console, stop for a second and look closer. That 1982 P quarter might not just be spare change, it could be a hidden treasure, a tiny piece of American minting history that's secretly worth a fortune. From off-center strikes to double dies, from clipped edges to wrong metal planchets, each error tells a story of the mint's unpredictable machinery and of luck waiting to be found. The 1983 P error Washington quarter dollar has become one of the most mysterious, most hunted, and most valuable coins in American history. It's a coin that proves that even in the modern era where machines were supposed to be perfect, mistakes still slipped through the cracks, creating hidden treasures that now sell for life-changing sums. You'll know exactly what to look for, and who knows, maybe you've been holding a fortune. The background. Let's rewind to 1983, a time of recession, inflation, and heavy demand for circulating coins in the U.S. economy. The Philadelphia Mint, under immense pressure, struck hundreds of millions of quarters that year, more than 673 million with the P mint mark. 1983 was the first full production year after the mint had switched from the older 90% silver planchets to the newer copper nickel-clad composition, and the machines weren't always behaving as expected. The most valuable errors and varieties. Double die obverse DDO. Strong, dramatic doubling in high-grade MS65 can soar past $5,000 to $10,000. Off-center strike error. Off-center, the date is still visible and the strike is 40 to 60% off, values can reach $1,000 to $3,000. Wrong Planchet error. Exceptional examples have crossed $20,000 to $50,000 at major auctions. Clipped Planchet error. Depending on the severity, values range from $1,000 to $5,000. How to identify a rare 1983 P error quarter. If you're thinking, could I have one of these in my collection? Here's exactly what to look for. Check the mint mark. Look just to the right of Washington's ponytail. The P mint mark should be clear and bold. If it's missing or faint, that could signal a die issue or partial strike. Examine lettering and date. Use a magnifying glass to inspect Liberty and the date 1983. If you see doubling or shadows, you might have a double die. Weigh the coin. A standard 1983 quarter weighs 5.67 grams. Anything significantly lighter, like 4.9 G or 5.1 G, could be a wrong planchet. Check the edges and alignment. Look for broad strikes, wide, flattened edges, or misalignment, signs of off-center or collar errors. Look at the surface. Any signs of extra metal, cuds, die cracks, or missing design details could point to a valuable minting error. Auction highlights and stunning sales. Let's look at some real-life examples that rocked the collector world. Quarter struck on a dime Planchet sold for $17,625. A double-struck example reached $8,500 at auction. An off-center strike with visible date fetched $5,700. And a high-grade double die obverse sold for $10,200 in 2021. These aren't hypothetical numbers, these are real sales, for real coins, found by ordinary people. Imagine finding one of these in your pocket change or old coin jar. It could literally be like winning the lottery. Final thoughts. So the next time you find a 1983p quarter in your change, don't just toss it aside, because that little piece of metal could carry a minting mystery, historical mistake, and maybe even a life-changing fortune. From double dies to off-center strikes, from clipped planchets to wrong metal errors, the 1983p Washington quarter is living proof that even modern coins can hide incredible value.